This is my bike. This video is more geared towards the sports bike rider, the weekend scratcher, let's say. This probably, this isn't really aimed at your daily commuter, because you're going to be picking up a lot more wear on your chain. This is to keep your chain looking in as new condition, really. So your chain, it looks something like mine. I mean, that chain has done about 5,000 miles now. About 5,000 miles, and I tend to do this routine of maintaining it after every sort of 300 to 400 miles. I'll go through this routine of cleaning and re-oiling and re-greasing. It's very important, obviously, you keep your chain in top condition. It's one of those things that if it fails, catastrophic failure could cause it could cause death, basically, a major accident. So it's very, very important that your chain is well maintained, well oiled. If it's not, it's just not going to last, basically, and it's going to wear out prematurely. So there's a lot of reasons to keep your chain in tip-top condition, and this video is going to show you how I do it, how I maintain my chain so it keeps looking like new. I mean, it's due for a clean now. That isn't the after, that's the before. So what do we need for this? First of all, you need some decent rag. Okay, that's the first thing you're going to need. Decent bit of rag to wipe it off. You're also going to need, I tend to use GT85, and there's a lot of discussions. Well, I've got WD-40 up there as well. There's a lot of discussions about obviously there's some dedicated products on the market to clean your chain, but I find this is better than WD-40. I mean, WD-40, you can see it up there. There was concern that it actually corrodes your O-rings of your chain. It's not good for rubber, whereas this doesn't corrode rubber. Okay, so this is pretty good for a chain. Obviously, you can get dedicated chain products, but we're not going to go into dedicated products. They're expensive, and to be honest, for the sort of cleaning I'm doing on the bike, they're unnecessary, really. So first of all, let's start with the actual cleaning of the chain. Now, one of the things I find fantastic for doing bikes is baby wipes. These are great for removing flies, they're great for removing little bits of debris. I use baby wipes to clean the wheels, wipe the wheels over, and I'll also, once I've cleaned the whole bike off, I'll tend to have leftover baby wipes used to do the first initial clean of the chain. So I have some dirty baby wipes here. I mean, these haven't been on nappies, these have only been on bikes, so don't worry about that. Okay, so you've got your cleaning products, you've got your baby wipes, you've got your GT85. Now, first thing is obviously safety. It's dangerous messing around with chain and sprockets. You need to ideally get the bike off the ground. I've got an ABBA paddock stand, fantastic, lifts the whole back of the bike and unloads the suspension. Obviously a normal paddock stand would do, and if you haven't got any way of raising the rear, you can work on it in sections at a time. Move it forward, do a section, but it's obviously a bit more awkward that way. When you're spinning the chain to clean, spin like as if the bike was going backwards, so the chain is going in that direction. You're then not risking any fingers going into the sprocket area. It's happened, and of course, do not ever try and clean your chain with the bike running and try and have the bike running. I've seen some horrendous pictures where people's fingers have gone through the chain and stuff, so never do that. Never try and clean your chain or lube your chain with the engine running. That's a big no-no. Okay, so first of all, I tend to just hold the group of baby wipes. You say, well, you don't have to do the baby wipes, you could just go straight to the GT85 if you wanted, but I like to just hold them over and just give, first of all, the bike, the chain a run through like that, top and bottom. Push down from the top first, if you like, and just spin the wheel. You can see all that muck starting to come off there. So just push down a bit of pressure, spin the wheel, and that will get the muck off the top of the chain, and then repeat for the underside. I will say now, my chain is far too loose. It needs adjusting. Okay, so if all you all say, oh, your chain's too loose, I know it is. It needs adjusting. Okay, you can see it's far too loose. So once you've done that, you can see already we're bringing this chain up. And this, as I say, this chain is done about 5,000 miles, 6,000 miles from new, and it's been maintained with this process. If the chain was a bit more heavily soiled than what it is, I mean the baby wipes have done a pretty good job there, but if it was more soiled I'd use the GT85 on there. That is the second choice. Obviously when spraying this sort of stuff you don't want to get it on your tyres, because you get it on your tyres it could cause you to just slip off the bike basically, because it's very slippery. It's a silicone sort of based spray, so if you get that on your tyres and you're laying it over onto the edge of the tyres, you know what's going to happen. On the edge of the tyres you're going to be off the bike. So again, if the chain's a bit more heavily soiled, put a bit on a rag. You can see already what's coming off of that. Don't forget the back of the chain as well. What I tend to do is find the link or the joiner. If your chain is doesn't have a link, you'll see a point where it's the join. We'll get that as your starting point, and when that comes back round to you, you know you've actually been round the entire length of the chain. And also what you want to try and do, each of the inside the chain, of course you've got the rollers. And if you just do that on there, you should hear them sort of moving or see them moving around. So if you want to, it depends. I mean, if I'm feeling really anal about cleaning my chain, I'll get a baby wipe, or a bit of rag, and actually go in between each link like that. Look at the muck coming out of there. Go through each link, pull it in between those links, and you can see the muck which is coming out of there, and that cleans the chain off right around the O-ring. Gets all the grit, dust. It doesn't take too long. You're talking a minute to go around there like that. Push it on, do a couple of links at a time. As you can see, without the bike being off the ground, this would be a bit of a pain. So I'm so tight, I'm just reusing old baby wipes here. If it wasn't so tight, you could use a nice new one. The thing with the new ones, they're quite moist, so they might be a little bit too moist for doing this. A bit too much liquid back into the chain. So these ones have been used, they're dried out a little bit, they're just sort of loosely damp to the touch, whereas a brand new baby wipe would be very wet. It's meant for wiping off shit after all, and not this chain shit, the bottom variety. It doesn't take long, and it gets all that grit right out from around the O-rings. Now again, if I was going to be really anal, I'll do the reverse side as well. So repeat this you can see the muck coming off there. And this is done about 400 miles ago. And that's just 400 miles worth of dirt and muck which has been picked up. So that chain is now pretty clean, to be honest. I mean, if your chain's heavily soiled, you can invest in some proper chain cleaning equipment. Like I've used a toothbrush, or you can get those fancy brushes with the three brushes you can hold against the chain and clean right inside. But to be honest with you, because I maintain my chain quite well, it never really gets dirty enough to warrant that type of cleaning. So this is always enough for me, really. But if you want to get your chain into a good place to start with, get in one of those brushes. You can also soak the chain in kerosene, and stuff like that, which is what sort of the handbook will tell you. But I mean, kerosene, I don't even know where you'd buy that, to be honest. Or you could just use some proper chain cleaner, spray it on, get your brush, and really give it a good first clean. Now I've got my chain clean, but now I've got horrible dirty sprockets to worry about. So what I do now is I spray again onto my rag, and I'll go round. It's mainly just old chain lube that's built up around here, but I'll go round using the wife's best top. Oh, it'll wash out. Definitely make sure you're rotating the wheel in the right direction at this point, because you will get your fingers stuck in the sprocket and the chain, and that is not good. So hopefully you can see that is. So I tend to just give it a bit of a liberal sort of wipe over to start with. Filth. I mean, I don't do the sprockets every 3 or 4. I tend to do the sprockets when they're starting to look mucky. So it's probably about 800 miles, something like that. I'll go around and clean the sprockets off like this. I won't do this every single time I look at the chain. There we go, have a nice little wipe. Already the chain starts to feel much smoother. So that is the chain clean. Now we want to re-oil. What I use for oiling is this, which is the Worth High Performance Dry Chain Lube. So this doesn't flick. So this is what prevents you having filth flicked up all over the place. So take your oil. What I tend to do is put a bit of rag just over, so I don't want to get this everywhere. So I rest a bit over the stand like that. You don't want to spray it here because you don't want to get it on your tyre. I tend to want to put it on the inside of the chain, and then as the chain rotates, that is, you know, as you ride the bike, it is in the gravity, it will force it and it will run down to the inside. So I apply it on the inside rather than spraying it on the outside. So I'll put it on the inside of the chain. So what I'll do, take the spray, cover the carpet and whatnot, take the spray and just rotate the chain. Just a couple of turns like that. Get those O-rings that side, try and get the O-rings this side. And that is it. And that puts on a fine coating of white, like a white grease all over the whole chain. And that you have to leave that now for about an hour. So you really want to apply this stuff before a ride. So don't spin the wheel again. That's sprayed on there. That's now soaking and drying on the chain itself, and it will leave like a white, very thin white, like residue on there to protect it. And that's it. That is one clean, lubed chain. Like I say, this is what I do every 300 or 400 miles. I'll go through this process, and that will keep your chain. Takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I do it as part of a normal sort of cleaning routine when I clean the rest of the bike. I'll do the chain, you know, as the last job when I've got my dirty baby wipes. And that's all it takes to keep your chain running in tip-top condition. And then of course all you have to worry about is adjustment. And as I say, mine is too loose, so I do need to adjust mine. It's a bit loose. Yeah, you should have about 30 millimeters of movement when you go between top and bottom. So 30 mil. And of course you should also adjust your chain when the bike is level on the ground as well, not when it's in the air. But chain adjustment, we'll talk about that later. That's a separate episode. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to see more about the bike, subscribe to the channel. There's a whole build diary of building this bike and what I did to build it. So that's worth watching. It's worth watching. I've also got some videos of riding it, my vlogging episodes. So again, it's worth watching. So please, don't be shy. Stick around.